Vicki Gunvalson, as many of you know from the Real Housewives series, and also an entrepreneur and a working mom and someone who's been through divorce. So thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So I just want to talk real talk with you about divorce, and especially women in divorce. As two women who own our own businesses and have children, and I work in divorce. You've been divorced. What's the first thing that comes to mind when a girlfriend tells you, hey, Vicki, I'm getting divorced?
So I'm going to go back a little bit in time. When I was 20 years old, all I wanted to do was be married. And I was way too young to make that decision, but I just wanted to be married. I was in beauty school at the time. Everybody was getting married. It was the thing to do. And I actually asked my boyfriend at the time, I'm like, is marriage in your future? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, I got to get out of the house because I can't stand live with my parents anymore. I want to be married. So 1 year later, we were married. Wrong decision. We were not equally yoked in faith or family or entrepreneurship. He worked for my father's company. At 28, I had 2 children, a 3 and 4 year old, and I got divorced. I mean, it was the decision I had to do. He was not showing up for work. He was drinking. He was cheating. He was just not a good person in regards to being a good dad or a good husband. So I made the decision. I knew that I'd never get child support because he worked for my father. And the day I filed for divorce and we got that court order, I got full custody. He walked away and the children never saw him again.
Wow.
So I knew that was going to be in my cards. And that's when I put my business hat on and said, okay, I got to start selling insurance. I got to be able to do something where I can make my own money. So I did that, worked for my father's construction company during the day, and at night I sold insurance. And I was a baller. I was a hustler. I had to do what I had to do. And then at 32, I got remarried to Don Gunvalson, a great guy. I married up, so to speak, 10 years older than me, was an executive with Home Depot, and things were going well. Then I got on the TV show, and then I thought my britches were too big for my pants or whatever, however the phrase is, and I got disinterested in him, and we grew apart. Hindsight, we were married like 16, 17 years. I would have tried harder in my marriage because he was a good guy. I just got like, we're over each other. Way too much fighting.
You didn't have children together, which probably made that decision a little bit easier.
Yeah, made it easier. He was supposed to adopt Michael and Brianna, never did. He was just not kind to my son, so there was a lot of disconnect. I'm filming a TV show, and I'm running my insurance business, and we were just like oil and water. We didn't get along. It was just too much conflict. So I pulled the trigger. It took 4 years to get divorced, and because I was the breadwinner at that time, the balance sheet was a little bit lopsided, so I had to give up more assets just to keep that piece. And then we moved. We had 3 rental properties. We had our house out the river. We had 2 houses in Coto. We had another house in Irvine. He had a decent salary, but mine was 4 times the amount his was. So I realized very quickly that maybe I should have stayed married. So when things start dissolving, you realize like, wow, this is a decision that's going to affect my future forever because the 7 figures were going out the other side of the door.
Right.
But I'm fortunate enough to know that I can make it back. I'm a hustler. I have my own business, and I get shocked at so many times because I do a lot of women's seminars on retirement planning. How many women don't work, and how many women think their husband still has to support them after divorce? And it just shocks me. I mean, some of the women that I filmed with, they just think that their husband should still support them. I'm like, go to work.
Yeah, go to work. Yeah. The concept is far-reaching for a lot of women who feel like they sacrifice so much to raise their children. I have clients tell me, and it's offensive because I do raise children and I work full-time, as do you, that they can't possibly be a good mom and work.
Okay. Your kids go to school 6-7 hours a day. They're in sports. They're in whatever. Keep your kids busy and go to work.
Yep.
Maybe they're not skilled enough to create an income, but I just think that before you get married, you got to have a skill. You got to have something to fall back on. My dad always said, if you get married for money, you're going to pay for it somehow. And
it's great advice from your dad.
I get shocked at people think they're entitled to their husband's work. That'd be like role reversal. Let's say I'm the breadwinner, which I have been my whole life, and that man, let's say, doesn't work. Why am I responsible for providing for him? I'm not.
So it's an interesting point because we're seeing more of that. We're seeing more of women breadwinners who are also the primary caretakers to the children. So you're seeing, the exhausted woman all over social media. You're working full time. You're making the doctor's appointments. You're getting your kids to soccer. You're working in the car. You're on a call at the court, the basketball court. And some would argue that feminists who believe in equality should pay spousal support and not be upset about it.
I'm okay with that. It's not like when I got divorced, I had to do a sum over to him because it's not gender specific. Whoever's making the majority of the money needs to pay off. And I just did a one lump sum, and I didn't do the monthly checks. I had that choice.
Which was smart and probably took some reasonableness on his end to accept that.
Yep.
Right? Because if you have a really angry soon-to-be ex-spouse, the likelihood of them agreeing to something that benefits you is less.
Right. And we don't know how long we're going to live. I'm in the life insurance business, so whether I live 1 year or 30 years, taking a lump sum to me was the more advantageous thing, and I just wanted to not have them on my payroll. If that makes sense.
I get it.
I don't know how these guys do it out there that have a woman on their payroll and they don't go to work.
Well, they're frustrated.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I have a lot of clients, male clients, who are looking to reduce the spousal support because the passage of time has warranted a knock on the door to their ex-wife to say, hey, it's time to go back. It's time to start doing something. We've been divorced for 5 years. You could be a doctor by now. Right. So it does take some accountability for us as women to recognize that we are capable. We can do hard things. We can go get a job. Yep. I remember taking 2 short months off for maternity leave with my first child, and I thought, I got to get back because I could see myself becoming paralyzed by the idea of going back.
I know.
If I don't get back now.
I know. And think about those men that want to carry on with a new family and new children and new spouse. They've got this dead weight that they're putting out every month. And the numbers here in Orange County, California, and I'm sure San Diego, LA, the numbers are huge. Some of these men have to put $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month in alimony. I'm like, you're kidding me. Go get a smaller house.
Yep.
Go stop shopping and go to work.
Yes.
It's shocking to me. I'm from the Midwest, though. I mean, back in Chicago area where I'm from, people don't get that type of child support or alimony. We just, we get divorced, we get the child support for however many years, and we walk away. I never got child support. I had to pay out on the other end when I got divorced the second time. So, getting married again, I would do a prenup, post-nup, nup.
All the nups, every single nup. And it's so important. And I think one thing I tell my younger clients and my premarital agreement clients is you're really smart because you do have a prenup, even if you think you don't. It's called the family code and the government wrote it.
Yep.
So your prenup was written by the government, and it's really important to have these conversations with your fiance. What are we going to do when we have kids? What's your long-term career goals? What are mine? Do they align? Do they interfere?
It's a contract. It's a business contract. And
sure is.
That's why I remember talking to one of my clients, you get married in a church and you get divorced in a courtroom. And it's interesting when you think about that, right? So we're not getting divorced in a church. We're getting divorced in a courtroom, and they get, that judge and those lawyers get to negotiate what we're going to get. For me, I couldn't get money from my first because he never worked after that. So he never saw the children. He never worked. So I'm okay with it. I got full custody, but it still pisses me off sometimes. My kids are 39 and 38.
As it should.
And he never went to a soccer game, never went to anything while we were married. It's just a deadbeat. So it was a good thing I got divorced at 28, and I was encouraged by my parents to do that. But it also made me realize how important it is to have a career. Just another story, one of my clients was in underwriting for her husband's life insurance, 48 years young, he made about $700,000 a year. They live in Northern California. She made about $100,000 a year. They went to bed 2 weeks ago. She got up because he wasn't there, went to the family room, and he was dead in their lazy boy chair. So immediately she lost his salary of $700,000. They didn't get the life insurance. It wasn't approved yet. I think he died of a heart attack or something, aneurysm. But they didn't do the autopsy on him yet.
Sorry.
What I'm saying is that I never met them. They were through a lead through Coto Insurance, and it just made me realize they waited too long to start that process. She said, I'm so glad because it's been on my mind. I have a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Immediately she lost that salary. So it's not only just divorce, it's what about death? Like, how are we going to survive and live without that person?
And death and divorce are two very different things, right? So when we're married, we need to have those conversations. Am I insured if you die? Am I insured if you become disabled? How are we going to support our family? And then upon divorce, what a lot of people don't know is the court can order, and you should negotiate for spousal support to secure, for a life insurance policy to secure your spousal support. It's a huge risk people take when they are completely dependent on their ex-spouse to go out and make money. And if that person were to die, you can't come running to your divorce lawyer saying,
Whoopsie.
whoops.
Well, that's the divorce lawyer's responsibility to educate that client. But we're all going to die, right? So we're all going to die. Everybody in this room and everybody in the world is going to die one day. When you're providing for a family, that's when I come in and say, okay, listen, you're the breadwinner. What if, dot, dot, dot. And, my motto has always been plan for the unplanned. And people don't plan to die. That lady didn't expect her husband to be dead that night. But now she's got a real problem. She's got to sell her house. She's got a big mortgage. I mean, there's a lot of issues. She could have had that all solved a year ago if she would have reached out to us.
Right.
So I do a lot of business with divorce lawyers like you and making sure that court-ordered life insurance contract has the, let's just say women and men, the women is the owner of the policy and the beneficiary.
Which is really smart because
So
I've
they're
had
not the
cases
owner,
where someone's
they switch
canceled.
it. Yep, or they switch the owner to be themselves. Okay,
Right.
let's say Mr. Jones and Mrs. Jones, they get divorced. Mr. Jones gets a life insurance policy on him, and he doesn't put her as the owner of it. So now he gets remarried, changes the beneficiary. He's the owner. He can do whatever he wants with that policy. She's now out of it. So you always have, again, not gender specific, the person that is the recipient of that death benefit be the owner.
And that's really important for people to understand. And part of going through the divorce process is to have a good attorney who knows when they are not an expert.
Right.
So that's when pick up the phone and call Vicki, who is the expert in insurance. Have her educate and empower you about the things you need if your ex-spouse dies. And these are often things people don't think about.
I know.
Do you still believe in marriage?
I do. I love marriage. I'm a marriage person. My whole family is marriage. I was the first person that ever got divorced, ever, from both lineage. Now that I've been divorced twice, which I never thought I'd ever be divorced once, I am dating now 3 years. I'm scared to get ever married again because I don't want to go through any more heartache. I'm so over it. But I believe in marriage, and I thought, what? It's just money. I'll make it again. But I'm going to do a prenup and postnup. It's already in place. I just got to change the name. I used to have Steve Lodge in there, and I have to put, Michael's name. So I thought, okay, whoever comes into my life, I don't just want to go to Vegas or, decide to get a whim up my ass to get married. It's already done. I just got to call my attorney. Change your name to protect the innocent. So. Yeah.
Very smart. It's smart planning, just like insurance. It's just planning for the future, the unknown.
Yep.
So when you have a friend, circling back to friends, share with you, I'm going through a divorce. Do you feel the need to give them advice not to drag it out in court, not to make it contentious when they get catty and petty about what do you do?
Very opinionated on pretty much everything. I wished more people would have shaken me up a little bit and said, what are you doing? He's a good guy. You're from Chicago. You guys are good people. You have good families.
To get you to stay in the marriage?
Yes, to stay in the marriage.
Oh, interesting.
I think that people give up too fast, especially here in California. Getting divorced is like buying a new pair of Chanel shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stupid. It's accepted. It's just done. And everybody's moving on to the next person. That next person has got the same problems the first person had. So
or different problems.
Different problems.
You just don't know them yet.
Just another set of problems. I mean, I always say this, the 3 A's, abuse, adultery, addiction. You got those 3 A's in your relationship, you're pretty much doomed to be divorced. You can't, addiction could be, alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be porn, it could be whatever that addiction is. Gambling.
They're not going to get the help.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Adultery, if you screw somebody while you're with me, you're out.
Yeah.
And there's no I'm sorry's, or I had a lapse of judgment. You're an idiot. Bye.
Yeah.
And so abuse could be verbal, it could be mental, it could be physical. So I live by those 3 rules, like abuse, adultery, addiction. And I think if we can follow that and have an agreement with that partner you're with, whether you're married or not, then there shouldn't be anything else that comes in. Because think about it. Why would you separate if you have those 3 A's out of your relationship. Like, oh, we're fighting about money. Well, get over it. Like, sit down and get out of budget or do whatever. But when you've got somebody that's going to commit adultery, that's a character flaw. That's somebody that you don't want in your life. You deserve better.
We talk a lot about the expectation that people getting divorced are expected to communicate, especially when you have young children. You didn't necessarily have this experience because the kids were in your care exclusively, but you couldn't communicate in your marriage, and now you're getting divorced, and you're expected to communicate about everything regarding the children without negative connotation and without anger and resentment, and that's really challenging.
Yeah, but I had all 3 A's with my first husband, Mike. I mean, he was everything,
and he left.
Yeah.
And that was, you left him, but then he left the children's lives, which was maybe in hindsight better for them.
Absolutely it was.
Yeah.
They never got hurt by him.
Right. And so oftentimes I have clients tortured by one of those 3 A's, often abuse and addiction, wanting to maintain a relationship with the children and inserting themselves into the children's lives and disrupting what my client feels is in the best interest of the children.
But every parent has that right to be involved in their children's life, unless they're dysfunctional, unless they're hurting the child mentally, physically, emotionally. So there are parents that are pretty messed up, and then Mama Bear comes in and says, "You get the hell out until you get clean," or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm pretty much a Mama Bear. I'm sure you are too.
I am too. I think it takes, again, not to be gender specific, but if you have someone with addiction issues, if you have someone who needs to get help, they got to get the help. And if they get the help, they can still be a very present parent. But if they refuse to acknowledge they have a problem, the court system's the only place for the other parent to turn. And the court system's not very forgiving when it comes to addiction issues. They draw a hard line, as they should, because they can't individualize a case. If you got a DUI with the kids in the car, you're not driving with the kids and you're testing for alcohol. I mean, it's very black and white. But it's unfair to the parent that has to deal with it, right?
It's like you're babysitting a child.
Yes.
And he's not a child.
Nope. Exactly. So that becomes a challenge. So you still believe in love. You will remarry, but you're scared. You say you're scared. Why are you scared?
Well, I don't ever want to be divorced again. When I walked down the aisle at 21, I knew I would be divorced. I mean, I knew the minute I was walking down, I just wanted to be married and have kids.
So do a lot of young women.
It's like idiot, right? This time at my age, I know what I'm getting into regarding my relationship I'm in now. Is it perfect? No. Is it workable? Yes. Is there anything out there perfect? No. So I just don't want any crap in my life. I got however many years on this earth. I just want to be happy and no lies, no cheating, no weirdness, just be honest and kind. And
do you think marriage will change the trajectory of the relationship? Like, do you worry it's good now and it's moving in a direction that you want it to go, but marriage will change that?
I hope not, because that's why I've taken it slow. We've been 3.5 years married, or not married, pseudo engaged, no ring, talking about it. But I'm not in a rush.
Okay.
If I see a freaking red flag, I'm out.
Okay.
I see yellow a lot, and it scares me. But I don't see red. And when I see red, I won't proceed.
That makes total sense. And you'll proceed with caution with a premarital agreement in place to protect yourself.
Pre and post, and nup.
All the nups. Can't protect yourself from heartache, whether you marry or not. But
I think I'm shielded from it. I think no matter what, if he came to me tomorrow and said I met somebody else, bye. I won't be hurt like I have been in the past.
Interesting.
I know that I'm very guarded. My last relationship I was with for 5 years, and we were engaged. Never talked about the wedding date, and little did I know he was sleeping with some girl he met at Piccolino's in Mission Viejo, screwing her from 3:30 to 5:30 while I was at work, and she's a school teacher, and they had this love relationship. I'm like, where was I?
Right.
I was at work.
Right. Working your butt off.
Yeah, and he was a retired cop, so he was a narcissist and the whole thing. So that was a whole nother heartache, and I really was hurt by him. And he was even on the show a little bit. But it was hard.
Let's talk about that from the perspective of being in the public eye. Do you think that being in the public eye interfered with your marriage, your second marriage?
Oh, absolutely.
And if you could do it over again, would you change that?
Absolutely. So I got so busy. I'm traveling with the Real Housewives of Orange County. I was working still full time, and I would get home from either filming or work at 9 and 10 o'clock at night, and Don's sitting there like, what's for dinner? I'm like, you didn't eat yet?
Right.
You know, I lost my role. I'm a housewife, a real housewife. I
real
love
housewife.
Cooking. I
Yeah.
love taking care of my man. I love doing the laundry. I love cleaning. Like I'm a housewife, but everything started falling by the wayside. And I know that, again, my parents, they're both deceased, but he said, if you don't take care of your man, somebody else will. And I don't know if Don ever cheated on me, but I know that I wasn't taking care of him as a wife. My role was gone because I was so busy about me that I lost why we got married and why we fell in love.
Well, that's amazing that you have that clarity and you understand that now.
And you think about for a woman or men, if you don't take care of your partner, somebody else will.
Right.
And if you don't want somebody else to take care of your partner, you better step it up, buttercup, right?
Have you ever shared this with him in a way that he understands?
With Don?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he admits it. He's like, you screwed up. You had a good thing and you screwed up. And I know it. I'm sorry. But we're done. You know, I had asked him a couple times while we were going through the 4-year divorce. I said, so could we get back together? He goes, when monkeys fly out my ass. I go, okay, that's probably never going to happen. So, you know, and he has a sense of humor. But,
right.
You know.
And why did it take 4 years? Were lawyers just controlling the operation?
Well, we were doing mediation.
Private
for a while.
mediation.
Mm-hmm. And then he met with somebody and said, I think I can get part of her condo insurance business and part of her future earnings with the Housewives. And then we went to forensic accounting and da-da-da-da. So
yep. You fell into the rabbit hole.
We were just going to amicably split everything in half on a balance sheet ourselves, and then it didn't happen. So
did you stick with one lawyer the entire process?
I then had to hire a lawyer because we had a mediation. We each had, you know, a friend basically that was a lawyer mediating, and then he hired an attorney, and then I had to hire an attorney, and I had to pay all the freaking court costs and all the attorney fees. So I got screwed on that. But
yeah, and as you said, as a businesswoman, it was just cutting your losses. It's the law of diminishing returns.
Yep.
Every year you continue to litigate a
and
divorce.
the weight of it was really
the weight
difficult.
is financially devastating, emotionally taxing, and people don't realize that. They think access to justice is quick and efficient, and unfortunately in a divorce it's not. Vicki, I want to thank you for coming to talk to me about divorce. You know, my job is hard and divorce is hard, and I think people like to connect with others who have been through it, just to understand that
it's emotional.
It is emotional.
Yeah.
They say death and divorce are the two biggest griefs that you'll experience in life. You work in death with insurance. I work in divorce. But we're both strong working women who are here to help other women. So I want to thank you for your time today.